The woman at the airport kept staring at my suitcase until she asked me one question. I was waiting for my flight, half asleep, scrolling through my phone, when I noticed a woman sitting across from me. She kept looking at my suitcase. At first, I thought maybe something was wrong with it. I checked the zipper, nothing. A few minutes later, she stood up, walked over, and quietly asked, "Where did you get that?" I looked at my suitcase. My grandmother gave it to me. The woman went completely still. "Your grandmother?" I nodded. "What's her name?" I told her. She sat down beside me. Then she started laughing. Not because it was funny, because she couldn't believe it. "That's impossible." I frowned. "What is?" She pointed at the suitcase. "I bought that exact suitcase 30 years ago." I laughed. "Maybe they made a lot of them." She shook her head. "No, I painted that little flower on the corner myself." I looked down. There was a tiny blue flower near the handle. My grandmother had always told me it was part of the suitcase's design. The woman reached into her bag and pulled out an old photograph. It showed her as a teenager, standing beside the same suitcase. The blue flower was already there. I stared at the picture. How did my grandmother get it? She smiled. She didn't. I gave it to her. I couldn't believe it. Apparently, they had been best friends when they were teenagers. They traveled together, wrote letters, shared secrets. Then life happened. They lost contact. Years later, my grandmother somehow found the suitcase again at a secondhand shop. She never knew who had originally owned it until now. The airport announcement suddenly sounded. Her flight was boarding. She stood up, then handed me the photograph. "Keep it." I shook my head. "It's yours." She smiled. "No, I spent 30 years wondering where that suitcase went. Now I know." She walked toward the gate, then turned around. "Oh, tell your grandmother I still owe her 20 euros. I laughed. "She's going to ask why." The woman smiled. "She'll know." And just like that, she disappeared into the crowd. I called my grandmother immediately. The second I mentioned the woman's name, she went completely silent, then laughed. She finally found the suitcase? I stared at the phone. "Wait, you knew?" My grandmother laughed again. "Of course I knew. She just never knew I knew." Apparently, the suitcase had been carrying their secret for 30 years, and somehow, it ended up